Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Top of the Table, June 25th edition. Brian Bentley along with Chris Ballard, Jake Cantonese. Joining us from San Jose, Robert Jonas. What ironic and coincidental timing, right, Robert?
It's as if I'm here to break news or something.
I sent Robert a message. I said, would you like to come on the show tonight? He said, sure. What do you have in mind? And within, it was probably 20 seconds later, breaking news. Please break the news, Robert.
Yeah, the Earthquakes have parted ways with head coach Dom Kinnear. I think it was sort of everyone knew it was going to happen, but it was a bit of a surprise that it happened this early in the season. So, no more Dom Kinnear in MLS.
And also John Spencer gone. So give us this. Who takes his place?
So you might all remember Chris Leach, a defender with the New York Red Bulls, and then he finished his career with the San Jose Earthquakes. He's going to be the new head coach, and incidentally, not the interim head coach. He was named the head coach today.
And then how is this not a surprise?
You know, a lot of people knew at some point they were going to make a change. It just sort of felt that way when they brought in new general manager Jesse Fiornelli. But I think most people felt with the team hovering right above the red line in the West that they would have given him a chance to kind of at least play out the season. So I guess no go, and the Quakes are charting a brand new direction. Chris,
were you surprised by this move?
I was, considering they won. I mean, I know, if they have it in mind to get rid of somebody, the fact that the team wins one game probably won't change that trajectory. It just always looks bad when a team gets, manager gets fired after his team manages to win.
To be fair, they beat Real also.
Well, yeah, I'm convinced my Red guys could beat RSL right now. And I'm one of the better guys, so. It's just, San Jose, they have that, they built the new stadium. It's the third season now? It seems, I forget, but they haven't really done very well there yet. They should have just kept Buckshaw Stadium, which I loved.
So, Jake, who's next?
Well, for RSL, or not for San Jose, I'm still trying to figure out how Steve Ralston is still there. He's a Dom Kinnear supporter, so I'd maybe want to ask Robert how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see that, he did stick around. Tim Hanley, the goalkeeper coach, is another long time, San Jose incumbent. He was with Frank Yallop in the first time around, and Dom Kinnear, and left to Houston with him. So a couple of holdovers from Dom Kinnear that, we'll have to see how long they last on the coaching staff. I think they probably needed a little bit of consistency moving forward. They couldn't just completely clean shop. But seeing John Spencer go, I think as soon as Dom got the news, I'm sure John Spencer was very supportive of Dom and was not too long in making the decision to part his way as well.
All right, moving on around the league. New York City FC wins the New York Derby yesterday, 2-0. Jake, is NYC a juggernaut?
I mean, I'm not sure if they are a juggernaut. I also know in the East, I don't know that they aren't a juggernaut. Chicago and Toronto are probably 1 and 2. I don't think there's anyone right now that's going to get through to those two. I don't really see anyone else who's going to get up to third with the lead that New York City has. I think yes. I think they're good at soccer. Can't believe I just said that.
Mr. Ballard.
I hate to think of New York City as anything other but a little joke in the corner of MLS, because I think, like a lot of soccer supporters over here, we don't like the idea of New York City FC, especially given the history with MLS and wanting to quote unquote have any new team have their own stadium and a plan, and as soon as they're shown a big check, they're like, oh, we just forget all of that. They are a decent side.
And you mean the airline sponsor of the league, Etihad Airlines?
Yeah. It's almost like it's related in some way. They are a good team. I will continue to hate them. I will hate their stupid small field and their fans who think they have history. But yeah, unfortunately, they are one of the better sides in the East. Although, like Jake said, they're still some way behind Toronto and Chicago. And Chicago are still it's amazing how the addition of one guy can make such a difference.
And you know what? I'm going to skip Robert. We're going to go to our next question because it's Chicago wins again. Are they unstoppable, Robert?
They've done everything right in the new way that MLS operates. You go out there, you spend your money wisely, you get some big names to get all the attention. And I think Schweinsteiger, for everyone who wrote him off as a over the hill, forget that he's been basically resting while he's been hanging out in Manchester United. And so he comes in with lots of energy. And I really like what they've done over there. I'm friends with a couple of the people in the front office, and they were very excited even before the season, the direction that that club was taking. And I think they caught everyone by surprise at the beginning, but this is going to be a team that's going to be competing for the Supporter Shield by the time we talk at the end of the year.
Jake?
I think we're all going to forget, because it was actually the other two midfielders I was far more impressed with, and that's Dax McCarty and Juninho. When Toronto FC made the jump from being kind of mediocre to really, really good, it wasn't Sebastian Giovinco that helped them make that jump. It was guys like Drew Moore and Beta Shore and Justin Morrow. You need to have a great supporting cast behind your stars, and Chicago hasn't had that for years. It's been a calm on his own, just trying to score goals with a bunch of other high-priced strikers that weren't very good.
Trying to run by everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like you can see Chicago over the last year, going back to this last summer, like you can see what they've been trying to do, and now they've put all the pieces together last off season in the winter. And my God, they are amazingly fun to watch from both sides of the ball, not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side as well.
Chris?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, they've been terrible for a while, but just last season they were the beginnings of something happening. But I think with Schweinsteiger coming in and proving a lot of people wrong in that he's worked his nuts off. He's clearly engaged in the project that they're trying to achieve there, and he seems to be having a blast. And I think if people are having a good time at work, it makes things a lot easier for everybody. So I don't know if they'll do well in the playoffs, because the nature of MLS is that you can have a team, come into the playoff on a huge winning streak or whatever, and they get knocked out in the first round. So once you get to the playoffs, it's anybody's game. But they'll be there or thereabouts. And I think with Toronto, they're the class team in the East.
Over in the West, FCD and Houston draw this week 1-1. Mauro Diaz returns to the lineup, back to full health. That's the major storyline for Dallas. But their scoring woes continue. What will they have to do in the transfer window to make it happen? I'm probably the only one that hasn't answered this. Jake?
I mean, FC Dallas isn't bad, but I mean, compared to the rest of the offenses in the West, they're not up there. Like LA scores more than them, Portland scores more than them, right? So that, God, I know Dallas isn't really a team that has ever really needed to win by scoring a lot of goals, but damn it, like they missed miss Blas Perez. How the hell did that happen?
Well, that was they replaced him with Urruti. And then they continue to use the second striker / attacking midfielder spot to bring in South American project pieces like Christian Coleman, who started off great in the preseason but has been not so great since then. Roland Lamah, who had a hat trick in 30 minutes versus Real Salt Lake. But as Chris discussed earlier, it sounds like anybody can do that. And no offense to Real Salt Lake. So they don't go out and sign. There's not going to be a big, huge splash name signing of anybody that you know. That's just me. Robert, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, when they were out here in San Jose and played the Quakes, and it took a last-minute equalizer for San Jose to rescue a point in that game. What struck me and a lot of us watching that game was, how built Dallas was to play defense and take its opportunities moving forward. And well, that's a nice strategy. It usually to get you points week to week. It doesn't get you a lot of goals, and that's something we know very well here in San Jose from the style of play that our now ex-coach Dom Kinnear would espouse. So it was a dreadful miss by Coleman in that game. Maxey, we've seen do great things, but just not consistently. That seems to be what Dallas. They can get that one extra piece. They're not just supporter shield contenders anymore, but they truly are going to be the dominant force in the West in a year where most of the Western teams are struggling to find their feet.
Yeah, they seem to be built on the conditioning with the solid what they have there in the solid midfield with Grayso, and then going back to Acosta and Hedges and Zimmerman in the back line. They want to catch people on the counter and almost basketball style fast break.
Is the East better than the West this year?
That's actually a really good question because the traditional West power, LA aren't very good.
Seattle's below the red line. Vancouver's below, like that. I know the teams at the bottom are always going to be bad, but I think now because of Chicago going from bottom to top, New York City rising, Atlanta expansion team above the red line. When was the last time we could actually say the East was maybe better than the West? Been a while.
It's got to be 6-7 years, I would guess.
Yeah.
Whenever DC was winning everything.
That's going back a while.
Like 20 years ago. That might also not be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't mean it to be sarcastic, but yeah. Question number 5: is the East better than the West? Robert.
Well, if you go on head-to-head, right now the East is dominating the West in points, and that includes a lot of early season games where Western teams were hosting Eastern teams simply because of the way the weather worked out. And we'll have to see how the summer goes because this is a Western Conference right now that's anyone's to have. You've got I think it was well described on Twitter not too long ago as the peloton that is the West, as every team is just sort of jockeying with each other and not necessarily distancing themselves. And it seems that, and we see it in San Jose, I've seen it with other teams as well, they tend to take those games against the East as a chance to rest guys, and that's just a recipe for dropping points. We'll never know if the East is truly better than the West till playoffs, till MLS Cup, but if you just look at the numbers, you got to go East right now.
I'm going to agree with that. Chris?
Yeah, East are better. I think the last couple of seasons, the teams that have been underperforming in the East have improved. Chicago and Toronto are the best examples of that, and you've got teams in the West who have regressed. LA being probably the best/worst example.
Question number 6. Before we went on the air, Mark popped on from he's vacationing with his family in Hawaii. He joined us very, very briefly, but he sent me a message. Mark says, "Aloha. Jake, did you see the TFC game? LOLOLOLOLOLOL."
I'm going to assume question number 6 should really be what is still wrong with the New England Revolution? And as always, the New England Revolution just can't score.
I think you just want to know if you saw the game. I think you just want to review.
I wrote the recap. He knows I wrote the recap. One day, New England.
Well, hey, Hank's not here. He's celebrating his birthday today. That's why.
I understand that. So I have to try and be a little bit of angry Hank. New England can't score. It's not we literally can't shoot. Teal Bunbury had our best chance, arguably, which should go and tell you everything you need to know about how that game went. If Teal Bunbury off the bench is your best scoring threat. Toronto probably should have iced that game long before Javinko in the 93rd minute. That's another story. I will remain steadfast in believing the New England Revolution are not bad at soccer. They are also, however, not good at soccer, and that is not a trend I want to see continue.
So they are just currently playing soccer, is what you'd like to say?
They are currently just playing soccer, and that is fine, I guess.
Hey, Chris, you want to pile on? Oh, wait, you're a Reds fan. Jonas, you want to pile on?
They're not good at doing the things that you need to do if you want to actually win games, and that's scoring. I mean, they've gone through a succession of strikers over the past few seasons, and for a while, one or two of them seems to do okay, and then they disappear. I mean, Fagundes was the hot thing for a while. I know he plays some attacking midfield, and he hasn't been around a lot this year. Kellen Roche probably the same, although I have honestly no idea what's happened to him. They can't score goals. If they can't score goals, they're probably not going to win games.
Question number. Oh, you want to kick them while they're down, Jonas?
Well, I'm just going to say, it's kind of fun for me as an outsider to watch the New England Revolution struggle, simply because, catching the games on MLS Live, I just really enjoy listening to Paul Mariner really bag on those guys with that wonderful accent. So,
he really does. Yeah.
Paul Mariner is the best, and I will hear no arguments or slander otherwise. Good sirs.
No, he isn't.
That was purely a compliment.
I know
I liked it. You know what? You can follow along this week with our hashtag Paul Mariner. Why not?
Yes.
I like it. Hey, question number 7. Jake wants to ask Mark, does LA have any goalkeeper help on the way? This is the part where Mark would say a lot of family-friendly things, and I would mute his mic. And then I would say you could tweet him at the Mark Villa with your letters of cards and complaint. So I'll let you, Chris. You get to be Mark, and you get to answer. Does LA have goalkeeper help on the way?
If I was Mark, I'd probably be bitching about Kurt Anolfo and then criticizing Lalas for letting Hugo Emelu go years ago. But no, the goalkeeping was terrible. I mean, both goals they conceded to KC were goalkeeping errors. The first one was one of the most blatant misuse of a pair of goalkeeping gloves I've ever seen in my life. And I've noticed the goalkeeper, is it Diouf or Diop? I can never remember his name, but he has a tendency to punch balls a lot, which is fine if you actually do punch them rather than just brush it as it goes past you into the net. Although I don't think the LA team in general is that great. I don't think you can pin their malaise entirely on the goalkeeping that they have. They've misfired in quite a few games this season. They're not as potent going forward. They miss Robbie Keane, which it pains me to say because I never liked him. And they need to do something because they could miss the playoffs, which would be somewhat a big deal in the context of MLS, especially with LA coming, LAFC coming next year. They can't afford to be seen to be the Chivas of LA, and that's the way it's going right now.
Hey Jake, give me your best Mark response without me having to mute your mic.
Oh, I was going to do a Rick Pitino impersonation, but that's okay. Carlo Cudicini isn't walking through that door. Josh Saunders isn't walking through that door. Mike McGee isn't walking through that door.
Kevin
Hartman isn't. All 4 of those guys right now are better than Clement Diop in goal. If John Kempen can't beat out Diop, then he shouldn't be on an MLS roster either. LA need help. I don't know how the best team in the league, in theory, can't find a goalkeeper. Like Jaime Pineda isn't walking through that door. You've had goalkeeping problems for like half a decade, and somehow you've won 2 MLS Cups despite that.
Because you're outscoring people.
That was the thing. So now, by the way, now you need a defense and you need a goalkeeper, and you don't have those things, and now you're just like every other team in MLS. Congratulations. I don't know. I'm not sad that they have goalkeeping problems. I love talking to my goalkeeping friends from high school about just sharing gifts and saying, "Wow, this is special, you two. Look at this catastrophe. This is something I would do in a rec league game, and I'm seeing it in MLS, and it's special."
Robert, give us your best Mark Villa response.
Oh man, it's going to be really slanted, but it's along the lines of, hey, at least we don't have David Bingham after you saw his howler against Sporting Kansas City earlier this season. It's seeing what happened in that game last night, and then thinking ahead to what we have as our Cali Classico this Saturday at Stanford. It's going to be 2 goalies with a whole lot of confidence issues going into that game. So maybe it means more goals, which I think the fans in the stands will be happy about. But the goalkeeping woes in LA are something that Quake fans will be happy about. But we've also been kind of suffering from a few at times as well. So we commiserate, but at the same time, we're more than happy to see Diop get howlered.
I'm going to play that part back for him tonight. Our final question, because I think this is going to take up a couple of minutes. The Gold Cup roster is out with 16 MLS players. You can start your panicking now. Give me your overall thoughts on the results, how they were performed, and who takes the brunt of all the American outlaw bitching. Robert Jonas.
Oh man, you know, when I saw the lineup come out, I think the number one name on there that didn't have me necessarily scratching my head, but really kind of feeling for the guy to make sure he has to step up is Dom Dwyer. You know, he's made a big deal about becoming a U.S. citizen. This is his opportunity to really shine, and truly at his age, if he wants to crack that lineup, looking ahead to potential World Cup qualifiers and the World Cup next summer, he's got to do something. You know, as much as he banged in so many goals for Sporting so far, you know, he's kind of got that success at the MLS level, and we're going to still see if he can do it at the international level. And believe me, we got a guy in San Jose we've seen sort of suffer that trap as well. So if Dom can pop a hat trick past to Martinique and maybe sew an extra W in his jersey to make it happen, then, you know, go USA. But that's the guy I'll be watching. See,
that reference works because he has a W in his name, and that's why you're a genius, Robert. Ballard.
I think the Gold Cup is kind of a waste of time generally, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. I think they can get to at least the semi-finals with a bunch of nobodies.
Nobody's going to watch it if it's called the cash grab. Come on.
Well, I know, but it should be called the cash grab. Well, I mean, that's a whole other conversation for a different day. Like Robert, I'd be interested to see what Dom Dwyer does. You know, I always have a soft spot for Englishmen doing okay in America. I think José Zardes needs to do something because he's been terrible for LA this year, and he was hailed as the coming thing for a while, and he just seemed to stall once he got to that level. So I'm hoping that he can do something good, and I'd be interested to see can he say his name?
Yep.
Who made the transition from, I think, Israeli citizenship to US now, because again, I think soccer is a microcosm of the country that people play in, and to see immigrants and people of different ethnic backgrounds play for the States, I think is representative of what the team should be, despite what a few eggs on Twitter might have you believe.
We don't listen to those eggs. Let's talk about wait, did I ask you, Jake?
No, I have I don't want to see Alejandro Bedoya start in the midfield. I don't want to see Graham Zusi start in defense. I don't want to see Brad Guzan start at goalkeeper. I don't want to see Giassi Zardes at all. Aside from that, I'm actually mildly excited about this. I think there's a lot of fun players in the midfield. Kellen Rowe, Christian Roldan, Kellen Acosta, Dax McCarty. Like, there's a lot of fun that can be made with these groups. Dwyer, I think, up at striker could be a revelation for this team, either as a lone striker or even as a partner. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see also the 6 people or up to 6 people that might happen in the middle of the tournament, which always seems strange to me. I assume we'll see Michael Bradley again, probably Josie, maybe Dempsey, things like that. Maybe Jesse Gonzalez at goalkeeper. If we can cap tie him, I'd be really excited to get him into the fold.
Paperwork not turned in yet.
Yes, I know that. Yep. So that's if that happens and we get to see him this Gold Cup, great. If not, hopefully we'll see him down the road in either friendlies or qualifiers. A special note to those of you traveling to East Hartford, Connecticut on July 1st, please leave for the game as early as possible. You will sit in traffic for 6 hours. I can guarantee this. Please do not leave at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You will miss the entire game. This has been the State of Connecticut Soccer Fan Travel Advisory Board. You may now continue the show.
Oh, I want to change the hashtag, but I don't think I'm going to do it.
I'm sorry. I should have led with that. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Dr. Jonas.
Yes. Well, if you're going to continue this thread here, I have to agree with my esteemed colleagues on the line here. And although it's we're happy to see Zardes make the roster, but I don't know what he really has to offer. But maybe Bruce has a little bit of magic dust he can sprinkle on the guy to get him back into form. I think this group is such an easy group for the USA. There's almost zero chance that they're not going to advance. And we'll see the Bradleys and the Altadors added to the roster as part of those knockout round games, and that's when the real games begin for me.
Anybody have any? Has the shine gone off of Matt Miazga?
Well, I mean, he's not new anymore, and we haven't seen him for a year. He got the move for Chelsea, and of course, it's one of those like, oh, it's the best thing because Klinsmann's got our guys to move to Europe, and then Klinsmann's gone, and he's disappeared without a trace. I think it's quite entertaining how he is listed as a Chelsea player on the roster, when he probably hasn't even been to London since he signed.
Yeah, because they own his rights.
Yeah. I think he's an excellent player. I thought he was a good player at Red Bulls. I thought he deserved the move to Europe. I don't know if, as a young professional looking to break into the top levels of European football, you want to go to Chelsea because they have a terrible track record with doing that. But then again, if you're going to get paid, you might as well make bank while you can. I would never have a problem with a player making as much money as he can in the short time that he has in the game. So I would find it very hard to turn it down too. They won't be calling me.
Well, apparently, here earlier, you're quite the indoor player.
I do play indoor a lot. That's because, I mean, look at me. I don't go outdoors at all well. Plus, since I have to I wear glasses and I'm not good with contacts, so I have like these shatterproof goggles I wear, and I can't wear them in the rain because I can't see anything.
All right, Kareem. Not changing the hashtag. Stick with us. Hashtag Paul Mariner this week. We'll look forward to the three of you that listen to the show, the one of you that might tweet it, to getting your input.
We have 3 listeners now.
Maybe somebody probably.
The other 2 like get together and make a third.
Well, I think one of those is me checking to make sure it's there.
Yeah,
That doesn't count.
That really counts.
Yeah. Oh, if I check it from my desktop and my phone. Oh, sad clown. Robert, give us all your plugs before we go. Your Twitter and your websites and everything we can find you at.
Yeah, certainly. So it's been a fun season for me. I've been splitting time with Centerline Soccer, which I've been a part of for 10 years now. So we're really excited to move into our second decade, and also doing some writing over at the mothership with MLSsoccer.com, filling in as a Quakes beat writer now and again. So a lot of opportunity to see me out there because no one else really has my name, so it's really easy to Google and you'll find all sorts of good stuff.
Where are you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at that very same name I mentioned, Robert Jonas, with no spaces, no underlines, no periods, no nothing, because you got to get on these things first. And also over at Facebook, you can see the conversation at the Centerline Soccer Facebook page. Always a great place for Quakes conversation.
Beautiful. Jake, you want to throw out about 14 vowels and spell your Twitter?
I can try. Jake Katniss at jkatniss43, Catanese. Please try and get it right. My new job just spelled it wrong. It's hilarious. And then the Bet Musket Facebook, the Revs hashtag on occasion. The Revs hashtag is a dark place right now. Actually, I shouldn't say it. It's always a dark place. But yeah, we'll be around hopefully. That's all I got.
All right, CB.
I just had my Twitter. If you're into that kind of thing, at Chris J Ballard. I tweet about soccer and I make stupid jokes and post pictures of my cat occasionally. That's what you have to look forward to on there.
You can find the show at Top of the Table TV on Twitter, topofthetable.tv online. You can follow me at Brian Bentley on Twitter if you want to. For these 3 gentlemen, my esteemed colleagues, as Commander Jonas said, and for the off-surfing Mark, what? The off-surfing Mark Villa and the birthday boy Hank Alexander. I thank everybody for joining us. We'll keep doing it until somebody tells us not to. But that means somebody that would have to listen to no to tell us to stop. It's been Top of the Table. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you again soon. Bye.